The best-selling camera in the first quarter isn't a Canon or a Sony. It's the Nikon Z9 with a 57% market share. Details coming up, but first I encourage you to subscribe and choose all notifications so you're kept informed on the latest camera gear, news, and rumors. NPD data confirms that the Nikon Z9 is the best-selling professional flagship full-frame mirrorless camera in the first quarter of 2022. The data has an average selling price of over $5,000 in the United States, and based on US sales of full-frame mirrorless cameras in the first 3 months of 2022, the Nikon Z9 has a 57% market share. The Nikon Z9 has a 45.7 BSI stacked sensor, a new image processor, and that new processor and sensor is able to deliver some pretty amazing stuff. 8.3K, 2425, 30, 50, and 60 frames per second with Nikon RAW, and up to 4.1K oversample 4K at up to 60 frames per second Apple ProRes or Nikon RAW. Or we can settle with 8K up to 30 frames per second and 4K 120 frames per second 10-bit internal 10-bit 422. And as far as stills go, we're looking at 20 frames per second RAW or 30 frames per second JPEG shooting with 493-point autofocus system with AI-based subject detection and a blackout-free real-life viewfinder, a 3.2-inch 4-axis tilting touch LCD, a vertical grip, plus 2 CF Express Type B card slots. It's a solid camera. It's right up there with Sony's flagship camera and Canon's flagship cameras, which is a bit of a tag team between the R3 and the 1DX Mark III. Canon's R1 is going to be coming out probably within the next 12 months. And of course, it's going to be a tough battle at that point to see who takes the crown. Does Canon take the crown from Nikon? But still, a truly amazing camera. Now, the Canon 1DX Mark III sells for $6,500, the R3, $6,000. The Sony Alpha 1, $6,500 as well. And the Nikon Z9, despite not being any slouch in either video or stills, in fact, knocking out the other cameras, well, it's able to deliver all of that for $5,500. And I'm not knocking Sony, the Alpha 1, it's a very solid camera, as is the Canon 1DX Mark III and, of course, the R3. But when you look at everything that Sony put into the Nikon Z9, which did come out the latest, although the R3 did ship around the same time as the Nikon Z9, but when you look at what's in the Nikon Z9, it is a pretty impressive camera. And to be able to charge $1,000 less than the competition, that's a really big deal. It's truly a big deal. This camera is producing really, really good results. And since the camera's come out, we've had, what, 2, 3 different firmware updates? The latest one being the biggest one. And if you own a Nikon right now, you got to be pretty excited, especially seeing what Nikon's doing, what they've done with the Nikon Z9, and with hints of what might be coming in the Z8. And it doesn't really matter what Canon does with the R1, and I'm sure the R1 is going to be a truly amazing camera. But the Nikon Z9 shows that Nikon knows how to innovate and produce a very solid camera. And with 57% of the market in the first quarter, they're dominating sales in that full-frame professional level camera at $5,500. 8.6. I was going to say 8.6K. The Sony does 8.6K video, but the Nikon doing 8.3K oversampled 8K. Nikon RAW, Apple ProRes. I do wish that it could do Apple ProRes in 8K. That would be really amazing, and I hope Canon's able to do something like that with the R1. I think the days of having to transcode after you record is a little bit ridiculous. And we can get around this by purchasing external recorders, like the Ninja 5 Plus or the Ninja 5. Now, the Ninja 5 Plus is what supports 8K, but it's $599 for the Ninja 5 Plus that's able to take 8K video, 6K video. The nice thing about a Ninja is whatever video it takes, you can choose to export in Apple ProRes, 422, 444, whatever you choose, or as well as Avid's codecs too. So it's pretty impressive. Not only that, but you're getting a 5.5-inch external monitor as well that does waveforms, vector scopes, false colors, all those exposure tools. So it's more than just a way of dealing with overheating. It's more than just dealing with getting the codecs that you want, but still to be able to get Apple ProRes in camera. And there's only 2 cameras that I'm aware of that does that right now. It's the GH6, big hurrah to the GH6 for including Apple ProRes, and of course the Nikon Z9. But again, it's only in 4K. But see, here's the thing. If Canon did that with 8K oversample 4K in the R5 Mark II, the R5 in a firmware update, or the R1, I'd be very happy because most of my shooting is still done in 4K. 8K oversample 4K, but 4K nonetheless. I still do shoot a fair amount of 8K video, but not nearly as much. I'd say it's about 70-30. The amount of video that I shoot in 4K, 8K oversample 4K versus the amount of video that I shoot in just 8K full sensor, it's around 30%. But yeah, no, I'm pretty staggered by this, and it's pretty impressive. And if you like this and you like to get the latest news and rumors, go ahead and subscribe, but make sure you choose all notifications. So that way, as soon as I publish a video like this, you'll get notified by YouTube that I've just published a video. So that way, you can be in the latest know for news and information on the latest camera gear. But that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again soon.